If you're well financially, 60-70% of your problems are solved. There's been a lot of research that has attributed financial unwellness or financial stress to chronic heart diseases, to anxiety, to depression. So why are we not paying attention to the core of the problem so we can fix every area of our lives? I love what Pastor Peter said, the love of money. Reality of financial stress. I won't jump ahead of myself. I'm going to throw some statistics because I saw this one recently in the second week of January. The American Psychological Association came up with a new report that 89% of Americans are actually stressed about money. This was after the election. 89%. I wonder what that number will look like today with everything else going on. 65% of working Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Don't look beside you, but just 6 in 10 people. Don't look beside you, okay? Just 6 in 10 people. 49% of US adults cannot afford a $1,000 emergency fund. So if you have an emergency today that costs about $1,000, without swiping the credit card, 5 in 10 people cannot afford it. 60% of those who make $100,000 annually, mind you, 32,000 is middle class in America. Do we all know that? If you make above 32,000, you're no longer considered poor. Do you know that? So if you make above that number, you're not poor. 60% of people making over $100,000 are still living paycheck to paycheck. So what this means is financial wellness is not a money problem. Okay? You can make $500,000 and you will still feel the same way you feel. You still feel the same way you feel. So let's jump into the path to financial wellness. Like I mentioned earlier, being financially well isn't about being rich. Take, for example, I have a friend that makes $145,000 a year. And I have another friend that makes about $93,000. And my friend that makes $93,000 has a better quality of life, has much more money saved, can actually explore and do a lot more things than my friend that makes $145,000. Why? Better steward of the money. Just like fishing, financial wellness takes patience. It will not happen overnight. The number of people that actually, because I'm Nigerian, blow overnight is minimal. The mistake a lot of people make, a lot of us make, is we compare ourselves and our reality with people who have backups. Are we tracking? You have someone with generational wealth, they come from a family with a lot of generational wealth, and you're comparing yourself with them. They are dressed head to toe in designers. They're dressed head to toe in designers, and you also want to be like that. Not knowing you are your plan A to Z. Financial wellness takes patience. It's not going to happen overnight. But every step matters. Do you know if you save $100 when you're 25 every month and you put it in an S&P 500, by the time you're 65, you have $1 million in your account? $100. $100. The amount we spend on that shoes, the amount we spend on that shoes, well, the amount we spend on that shirt, the amount we spend every month consistently. The second thing, there's techniques involved, and some of those techniques are things I will be sharing with us today. Adaptability. On the journey of financial wellness, adaptability is key, because the principle you know that works today changes tomorrow. So you have to personally be willing to adapt to the situation and circumstances happening. Take, for example, a lot of uncertainty going on in the United States today. Correct? Can we talk about that for a minute? Not politics, I promise you. Especially in the financial wealth, in the financial industry. A lot of uncertainty going on today. How have you reacted to this as a family? How have you reacted to this as a person? Because the sky is going to fall. It's not just on one person. The rain is going to fall on the just and the unjust. God has given you wisdom and strategy to anticipate that this is coming. Prepare. There's a storm coming. It's your time to prepare. Are we tracking? How are you reacting to the financial situation happening in the United States? My wife told me recently and said, "You've been so obsessed." It was in our kitchen because I was cooking, or what was I doing? I don't know. I had my iPad on the counter and I was watching the news and I was navigating different news, and she was like, "This is the most you've actually consumed news." And in my head, I was like, well, I want to know when it's time to book that one-way ticket out of this country. But all jokes aside, the reason I'm that obsessed with what is going on is just one signature. I was sharing with KJK. Was I sharing that with you? One of my first projects at work was to encourage my organization to buy drones worth $40 million. And one just single signature or comment from the current president actually put that entire project on hold. Now I'm reacting, trying to figure out a solution. What do I do? Where do I go from here? Are you tracking with me? If I anticipated 6 months ago or 3 months ago post-election, which was about the time I was making that decision, if I had taken those things seriously at the time, I won't be today reacting to that news. I'll be more prepared. Are we tracking? All right, I'm going to talk about a few things. We'll talk about the statistics already. I'm going to talk about the first thought I have is, how do you avoid financial mistake? 3 lessons from experience. 1 is a high salary would not save you. A high salary would not save you. A lot of us have this mindset that if only I can make 100,000, if only I can make 60, if only I can make 200, a high salary will not save you. I'll give you an example. I had a boss a long time ago. This guy was a millionaire. He was 23 years old. I tell this story all the time. We started talking post when I joined the job and everything, and he told me that we were just talking, and I was like, "Oh, so where do you stay?" He told me where he stays. At the time, I was living in a luxury apartment or whatever. And he told me where he was staying. He was staying in a crappy apartment in Laurel. Okay? Crappy apartment. Crappy 2-bedroom apartment. I don't see myself staying there. But, well, that's a problem I have to fix internally. He has a roommate. He was paying me $120,000 a year. And we're about 24. Okay? So are you tracking? He was a millionaire, he was 22. He had a lot of money. He had a decent amount of money. Not a lot. But yeah, he has a lot of money. Are we tracking? He was driving a Ford. Okay. My car was nicer than his. Let's just put it at that. Are we tracking? It will show up in the same outfit on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I don't even repeat the same shirt I wear in the morning if I have to go out in the evening. I'm just being very transparent with us. So I asked John, "Why do you have a roommate? I don't like people that much. Why do you have a roommate?" And he said to me, I save money. And I was like, how much money do you need to save? He said, my rent is $1,250. The roommates paid $650. And they also spilled my electricity bill with me and all of my utilities. Where in Maryland would I have a room for $600? Remember, it is human nature to want it now. It is also a sign of immaturity. Be willing to deal with delayed pleasure for a greater result is a sign of maturity. Are you a baby throwing tantrums? Ask yourself that question. Because it's only babies like my nephews that say, no, you can't play video game, and then they'll learn. There's something called lifestyle creep. And lifestyle creep is a concept where as your income increases, your expenses also what? Increases as well. I'm telling you today, this is what keeps you stuck. Share another example. Scott Plank, one of the Under Armour brothers, the founder of Under Armour, one of my boss. He brings lunch to work every day. And he brings in a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Okay. Abraham goes to Chick-fil-A for lunch, or I go to some place where I spend almost about $12, $15, $20 sometimes on lunch. And there was a day we were talking, we were having lunch together, and I was like, why do you, because I thought maybe like an obsession or something, and I was like, why do you eat the same food every day? And he said to me, a peanut butter jelly sandwich costs me maximum $1. But your lunch costs you, we'll get the math, right? Okay. No matter how much you make, if you spend everything, you will be broke. It's not a matter of, it's a matter of when. It might not happen after a month, but time is coming. You will be broke. One of the challenges I want to challenge us today is, while we're talking about lifestyle creep, there's also another concept called lifestyle cap. Capping the amount of money you actually need to live comfortably and invest the rest. What is a need? A need is something that you need that's essential for survival and basic well-being. A Gucci belt is not a need. I'm going to throw myself in the bus as well, so it's not just you. $1,000 suits is not a need. Are we tracking? A $350 wig is not a need. You know, I gotta be fair, right? If I'm coming for it, I gotta be fair, right? A $400 glasses is not a need. Are we tracking? That car is not a need. I'll give you an example. I was talking to a friend recently, and it was like, I need a new car, I need a new car, I need a new car. And I told this lady, I said, you work from home, why do you need a new car? You only go out once, maybe Saturday and Sundays, then when you want to go to the grocery shop. It's okay, save the money. When the time is right, if that car falls off, or the wheels falls off, then the car becomes a need. Are we tracking? Remember, true wealth isn't in material things, it's financial security. What is secret number 2? Secret number 2 is saving alone won't make you rich. Are we tracking? There's also another school of thought that says, save, 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 save. But saving alone won't make you rich. Remember the parable of the talent in Matthew chapter 25, verse 14. If saving is all you need, that guy that saved the talent would not have been in trouble. But a lot of us are like that guy. We'll keep all the money we have and store it in one account. Oh, let's just keep storing. Let me keep saving. Let me keep saving because we have some confidence that comes with having, well, I feel the same. There's a certain number, my wife is here, I'll throw her under the bus again. Each time the money in our account reaches a certain amount, I say, oh, we're broke. And then she says, shut up, we're not broke. It's like, and I'm like, no, we're broke, because at that point is my comfort level. Find out your own comfort level. Saving alone is not enough to build wealth over time. Inflation hits up into your savings. Are you tracking? Putting money in just a regular account is not a good way because inflation as of last year was 2.9%. This year is predicted to go up to 4.5%. If you're not careful with some of the things we're seeing in the economy, with things that are happening to poultry, with things that are happening to a lot of things right now, inflation is about to soar to the roof. Prepare for this. You watch the news and you see tariffs. How are you reacting to this news? Because before you blink twice, it's going to impact you. We all heard last year that bird flu was coming out, right? We all heard about bird flu last year, right? Today, are we not feeling the price of eggs? Are we tracking? If you've prepared last year that, things are about to get expensive, now it's time to start adjusting my source of income. Now it's time to start cutting out some expenses because things are about to get crazy. Short-term money, I'll give you 3 quick secrets and I'll jump. I'm looking at the time and I'm about to race out of here. Short-term money that you have, put it in an high-yield savings account. If you have money that you're saving, put it in a high-yield savings account. High-yield savings account guarantees about 4%. It's better than your checking account. There are a lot of high-yield savings account that gives about 3.9. Last year it was about 5%. Put your money in a high-yield savings account. Make sure they are FDIC secured. Long-term money that you have, put it in investments, in stocks, estate, and business. You can start small with long-term investment. Put $100 a month in an S&P 500. Just put it there and forget about it. Because anyways, you're going to spend that $100 on some dumb stuff. Secret number 3, do not bury your money, save it, make it grow. What is secret number 3? Not all debt is bad, but most people use it wrong. Remember Proverbs 22 verse 7, the rich rule over the poor and the borrower is a slave to the lender. A lot of us have made assumptions with debts and feel like, credit card, car loan, and student loan is normal. It is not. All debt is bad and should be avoided by all costs. Credit cards, student loans are all part of a life. But no, it's not. You can actually do the maths. I'll give you an example. Do I do car loans? Yes, I do. But the math makes sense to me. Are we tracking? You have to do the maths and make sure it makes sense to you and your current situation. Take, for example, people talk about student loans. Can I go there? Yeah. Can I go there? If you are studying arts, fine arts, are you tracking with me? And you're taking student loan, I don't need to remind you, that's a dumb decision. I'll give you an analogy, and I'll stay here for a little bit because this impacts every one of us. I chose a career that the percentage of people that succeed in my career is higher. Are you tracking with me? This won't only help you. I genuinely believe this will help you and help you navigate your children as well. Follow me for the next 2 minutes. I personally chose a career that the percentage of people that succeed and make $500,000 annually is higher. Are we tracking with me? And the likelihood for me to get there is not too high. Meaning I don't have to be a pure genius to meet that number. Are we all tracking? A lot of us want to be financially free, but we choose a career that only 1% breaks even. So the competition and people you're fighting with to get to the peak of your career is higher. Life is difficult. Why do I have to make it difficult for myself? Are we tracking? Take, for example, some people say, oh, yeah, I love acting in movies. Amazing. Beautiful. But what is the percentage of people that actually succeed and make 6-7 figures in acting? The 1%. I'm not discounting passion. Don't misunderstand. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying be strategic. Debts can be a good asset for you. Take, for example, I always tease my wife every time, if you know the amount of debt I'm in right now. But there are some debts considered good debts. Consumer debts, things that actually reduce value. Do you know that if you buy a car, the moment you drive it out of the parking lots, it depreciates? And yet that's what we want to spend all of our life on. If you invest in education with a clear return on investments, not that I hope someone will find me. Thought 2, mastering money management. 3 simple systems I wish I have. Budgeting is great. System is greater. The Bible talks about this in Luke 14, verse 28. Are you going to want to build a house and not first count the costs? A lot of live our life without counting the cost. That purse you're purchasing for a couple thousand, I'm coming for the women now, okay? That shoe I'm purchasing for a couple thousands, is that worth my life? Are we tracking? Budgeting helps you count the costs before making financial commitments. I'll give you an example. A lot of people have the stereotypes with budgets, and it's real. People think about budget and they're like, budget is very restrictive. Budget makes you, put you in a box. Budget doesn't let you live your life on your own terms. But that's not true. Budget just means that I'm being intentional with how I spend my money. Are you tracking with me? If I choose to buy a purse, if I choose to go to a Chick-fil-A every day, that is my decision. Are we tracking? But because of how intensive, how conscious, how intentional you have to be with budgeting, I am challenging every one of us to take it a step further and create financial systems for ourselves. I'll share with you what I'm doing. Because I know that sometimes I want to live by some of these principles I'm teaching. But the Nigerian in me makes it too hard. That sometimes I tell myself, YOLO. Okay? I'm being realistic with us. Sometimes I'm like, I want to budget, but sometimes I'm like, come on, Abraham. You're doing too much now. You know what I've done? I've designed a system that works for me. So I went to my job. Are you tracking? I broke it down. 20% of my income goes straight to this account. Are you tracking? 10% goes to this account. 5% go directly into Charles Schwab. Are you tracking with me? Just not to give myself the opportunity to cheat my future self just because of some decision I'm going to make today. So when the last money that comes, I'm like, oh, 3,000 is all I made this month, though. That's all we're spending. Are we tracking? Because that helps me prioritize my future today. Because when you see that 6,000, 8,000, 10,000 comes into your account once, oh, what are you talking about? I want to spoil myself. That's when you remember all the things you have in your carts. It's true. We are human. I'll give you an example. Valentine's was just Friday, right? My wife got me a nice pair of sneakers. Nice. And I was like, I've had it in my cart for like 4 weeks. You're in the spirit, baby. She didn't even know that I wanted that sneaker. Are we tracking with me? I'm just waiting for that one money to come, or my blow money to reach a certain number for me to just say, check out. Yeah. Are we all tracking? Create a system. Sit down with your spouse. Sit down with yourself. How much money do we need in a month? How do we proactively? Because if you're waiting for, I will manually remove that money and put it in that investment account, I will manually, you will forget. Life pressure will come on you. Imagine, people will make their emergency your emergency. Are we tracking? And they will push you, they will tell you this story and make you a terrible person if you don't give. Are we tracking? I'll give you another example. This happened last week or 2 weeks ago. The guy that told me I was stressing him because of money. So this person was asking me for money. And I said, okay, because that month I've gone through my generosity fund. So I have a generosity fund. And if I've run through it, sorry, brother, you got to wait until the stash get refilled, correct? Because if you go broke, these same people will be the one. Who did you help when you had money? Are we tracking? I've come to that realization, and I'm sorry if you think I'm stingy. Well, thank you. So I went into that stash. I was like, my stash is low, and I really wanted to give him something, just not take. I want to give him something substantial. And then he kept calling me, you think I owe him money, you know? He was calling me. I was in meetings, and I was distracted. And I kept texting him, I've told you, it's duly noted, I'm going to get back to you. Then he said to me, I was in a meeting, I guess, right? And he sent me a text message. I was like, is it because you want to give me money? That's why you're stressing me this much? Wow. Blocked. Are we tracking? Yes, sir. I work too much. I'm about to share a part of my life with you. And you are telling me I'm stressing you. Blocked. Are we tracking? Live between the 50, 30, 20 formula. Pastor Femi, I'm apologizing ahead. I'm going to spend 10 more minutes than the timer up there, okay? I'm sorry. I'm apologizing ahead. I stay to time. I'm sorry. There's some things I really need to talk about. Follow the 50, 30, 20 rule. 50% needs. Stay within that 50%. 30% investing and savings. And then 20% wants. Are we tracking? Is it doable? Yes, I've been doing it for years. Throw my wife under the bus and she will punch me later. So in our family, we go side by side. There are times where I'm the spender and my wife is the saver. But most of the time, I'm looking at KJK, okay? If I get in trouble, I'm looking at KJK and Pastor Femi now, okay? If I get in trouble, most of the time, my wife is the spender. And we've been married for 5 years now. And the first 3 years in my head, sometimes I'm like, don't you get it? We need to invest for the future. Not like she spends on crazy things, don't misunderstand me. And then the last 2 years, I start hearing my wife use words like, I'm budgeting. This is out of my budgets. Are we tracking? Yeah. And she started using words like, I can't spend above that number. I need certain number to be in my account to be comfortable. Are we all tracking? Yeah. I say that to say, when you build that system, it doesn't only rub off on you. Yeah. It flows to everybody. I'll give you an example. My sister, He's asking me questions. So when people see that the system in you works, it flows. So when the scripture says, let your light so shine, is that whatever it is you're doing, the only way you can be a witness is you be the one people are looking at. Manage your life and your money well. People will ask you, what's your secrets? I've had people ask me, oh, how long have you been in the country? How long? And I was like, 6, 7 years, so whatever. Are we tracking? Remember, your number one wealth building tool is your income. Secret number 5. The rich don't save for retirement, they invest for it. Remember, Ecclesiastes said, invest in 7 ventures. Yes, in 8. Because you don't know when COVID will eat the land. Are we tracking? Because you don't know when there is going to be a new person in town that will change the economic principles that you used to know. Because you don't know who the next person who in power will be. Because you don't know that getting a federal government job can be risky. Are we tracking? We all think federal government job is safe, like it was us that is in private sector that is like, well, you all are feeling it now, but not to be insensitive, okay? Invests in index funds. Invest in ETFs. Buy rental properties. Buy gold bars. Buy gold jewelries. Okay? Buy wristwatches. You will show off with it, but it's still an investment. Are you tracking? Are you tracking? Rolex are good. I can keep giving you the list. Are you tracking? There's some of them that are investments. But you have to differentiate which of this is an investment and which of it is not. Gold bars, they're an easy way to save money. Are you tracking? Buy businesses. There's a website, Business Buy, Biz Buy Sell. Go on there. There are businesses that are for sale. There are some businesses that are for sale for $150,000. You only need to put 20% down. Take a look at the numbers. They will help you. Are we tracking? So if you have your savings stock, these are things you can use your savings for. Invest in your 401k. Take advantage of it. Your job has this. They give you free money when you contribute into it. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of IRA accounts. Make use of it. Put money there. This is an easy way to escape some taxes. Secret number 6. The emergency fund is your first step to wealth. Also go back to the Bible. Proverbs chapter 6, 6-8. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provision in the summer and gather its food at harvest. Emergency fund. Start with $1,000. Start with $500. Your car will break down, but your emergency funds help you not have fears. Then build to 3 to 6 months, then a year, then 2. At that point, focus on retirement. Are we tracking? I'll talk about retirement in a second. This is going to be the fun part. Keep your emergency saving in an IE account. Do not put it in your checking accounts. Your checking account will only give you 0.01%. They will give you $1 for your $1,000. That's if they give you. They give you a cent, rather, for your $1,000. Put it in a high savings account. You have better chances. How many of us want us to be financially free? If you want to be, let me see your hand. So in 2021, that was the first time I ever went on a private jet. First time. And we were in a meeting in Baltimore, and we're in the meeting, and we're like, oh yeah, we'll be flying out in 45 minutes. Okay? And then my bosses were like, oh, we'll be flying out in about 45 minutes. And I was like, TSA. So they brought back generational trauma, you know? And I was like, 45 minutes? Before we drive from Baltimore to BWI, it's already 20, 30 minutes. And then before we cross TSA, and then the plane would have taken off. Then Innocent Me was like, oh, we got to leave now and then. And then my boss said something that blew my mind. I was like, oh, they'll wait for us. Oh. Yep. Yep. My mindset changed. So that day, we drove. And then instead of actually going to departure, we went to general aviation. I said I would not be poor in my life. Okay? We got on a King Air 350. By the way, my wife doesn't like when I fly privates because of a lot of reasons. Not because she feels it's not safe. Who doesn't like options? I like the high feels, you know? So we got in there. I was out here scrabbling on my bags, and I had a laptop bag. I was all going, and then this amazing lady, oh, can I help you with that? I was like, oh, no, I'm good. No, I can help you with that. And I was like, help me? Oh, sure. I gave it to her. And then we got on the plane. It was supposed to be a quick hour and 50-something minutes to Chicago at the time, I believe. And then they said to us, oh, yeah, so what would you guys like to eat? Before we took off. And then I saw my boss on the phone while we were on the runway about to go. I was like, all these pilots that they would tell us, put your phone in do not disturb, airplane mode, it disturbs the, poverty, eh? That experience changed my entire mindset about money. And then I asked Scott after we got back, and I was like, why do you fly this way and all these sort of things? And I said, one of the reasons why I like to have money is because money gives me options. And that stuck with me. Because if you don't have money, if they say this thing is $20, it's $20. If they say this thing will take 5 hours, it's 5 hours. If they say nobody is flying today at BWI, nobody is flying. Are we tracking? If the weather is bad, and oh yeah, we can't risk it, that's all you got. I don't like that feeling. And that's why I have to take care of my money the way I am today. Remember, the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So because financial freedom isn't a one-size-fits-all, there are different categories of financial freedom. And every one of us, we have a financial freedom number. I'm going to give us a number today. I'm going to give us a formula today that we can actually use to determine what our future will look like. And maybe when we know what our goal is, then we can change our strategy and be a little bit more intentional. Are we tracking? Because if I tell you today that if you have X amount of money, you can retire tomorrow. Wouldn't you want to have that money so you can retire? So if you don't have the goal or something you're aiming for, anything is a aim, Are we tracking? What is the formula for financial freedom? Oh, I said this. I was teasing someone. I said financial freedom is actually a math problem. Once you solve that math problem, then you know what to do. I love maths. Okay? Because with maths, if you get the variables right, your answer will always be the same. 1 plus 1 will always be what? 2. The variable is just that one has to be 1, the other has to be 1, and the answer will be what? 2. 5,000 plus another 5,000 will always be 10,000. Are we tracking? So financial freedom is a math problem, and we're going to solve the math problem together today. To find your financial freedom number, all you have to calculate is, what is the amount you spend every month? Are we tracking? That's your X. You multiply that by 12 months, and you multiply that by 25 years. Are we tracking? Whatever that number is, that's your financial freedom number. So your goal is to make sure you have that number in assets or investments or cash, and you're ready to retire. Are we tracking? So the assignment for every one of us is go back home and think about it. How much money do we spend in a month? Multiply by 12 months, and then multiply by 25. You know why? Because there's a rule called the rule of 4, right? And the rule of 4 means that whatever it is that you invest and you grow your number, you can withdraw 4% of that annually, indefinitely. This has been proven for over 45, 50 years. I was doing my financial freedom number, and I saw the number, and I was like, oh boy, got a long way to go. So let's say, for example, you spend $80,000 a year. Your financial freedom number is $2 million. But when you know that the number you're going after is $2 million, would you pay attention to that Louis bag? Would you pay attention to that Ferragamo belt, that Ferragamo shoe? Would you pay attention to it? Because at that point, you're like a dog with a bone. Because you know what you're going after. When I hit that mark, then at that point, I can let go. Are we tracking? Start early. Stay disciplined. Follow the rule. Secret 8. I have one more secret, and then we'll go. You need multiple income streams. Diversification is wisdom, because uncertainty is inevitable. You have to be prepared and diversify every point in time. Are we tracking? I'll give you another fun story in the Bible. Abraham and Solomon were pros at diversifying. The Bible didn't tell us all this just to read it as a story. It shows us as a template. Abraham had livestock. He had real estate. He does trading. These are different ways to diversify. Started side business. There are 3 categories. You should have an active income, a passive income, and an investment income. Your active income is your main job. Your investment accounts or your investment income is your stocks, your dividends, and your rental property. I'll give you an example. The S&P 500 did a whooping 18% last year. Between January and today, with all the fluctuations that has happened, I've made about 14% from the S&P 500. Are we tracking? Passive income. You can start online businesses. You can buy existing businesses. You can invest in businesses. Are we tracking? You can automate your side hustles. Just do something. Don't be that one person that actually only saves your talents. Lastly, wealthy people use money differently. Money is a current. It's always moving. It will flow towards you when you earn. And if you don't manage it well, it will flow away from you. And then you start wondering, where is all of my money going? Money is a current. The association and places you find yourself will charge you. Are we tracking? If you keep talking about investment with all your peers, all your friends, and all of that, you see yourself naturally investing. But if the people around you are people where you all keep spending and keep spending and keep spending and keep spending, you see yourself doing what? Spending. Some people fight the currents. They struggle against financial stress, debt, and uncertainties. Others, and this is what I want to challenge you to do today, they learn to ride the currents. As much as it keeps fluctuating, learn to ride the currents with information. Learn to ride the current with financial knowledge. Learn to ride the current with investment. Learn to ride it with smart habits. Learn to ride it with systems. Learn to ride it because that's the only way you can thrive. That's the only way you can thrive. Shift your mindsets from consumerism to stewardship. Ask yourself tough questions. Can I actually afford this? I'll give you an example. If a car costs $90,000, the cost of that car is not $90,000. If a car costs you $90 today as you're purchasing it, the lifetime cost for that 5 years you're paying for that car costs you an average of about $200,000 to $250,000. Wow. So if you look at it in that regards, you have to service, buy gas, do this, do that. If you look at it from that regards, you will ask yourself a question: can I truly afford this car I'm about to buy? Ask yourself a question: will this make me more money? How can I make the world, how can I use my money to make the world a better place? For wealth cycle, and I'll shut up and sit down. Earn wisely, grow your wealth, give generously, and watch what you have multiply. I'll go back again. Earn wisely, grow your wealth, and give generously, and watch multiply what you have. A lot of us jump from earning to giving, and we expect multiplication. Are we tracking? A lot of us goes from earning, and we expect multiplication. But the way it works, earn, grow, give, and watch the multiplication. Wow. Are we tracking? Earn, grow, give, and watch the multiplication. People that I know that are actually wealthy, they are the most generous people I have ever met in my life. I want to challenge you. Think beyond the way you see generosity. Think about generosity in ways of small acts. Small as simple as you're trying to buy coffee, and you just pay the Starbucks person and say, hey, I take care of the person behind me. The satisfaction and fulfillment that you get from your day for just that one act. And then think about it if you do it multiple. There are a lot of people that will be praying for you that you don't even know exists. My wife will kill me for saying this. There's certain things that we do every holiday period, selflessly. And people say, oh yeah, it's intentionality. The goal of financial freedom is not for you. It's for you to actually build money, build wealth, to make the world a better place. Thank you.